So we'll try to make this one shorter today. Yesterday was apparently 18 minutes, which a lot of you watched, so I do appreciate that. Hope to continue to provide you some quarantine card entertainment. I made some notes today, so look out, world. First of all, what's on tap? Has anybody tried the new White Claw? Ain't no laws when you're drinking the claws. That's like the best marketing campaign ever. This is watermelon. If I could ever open it and make the sound. Here we go. Ready? Ah, let's find out if it's any good. I got the new sampler this week. While you guys were all, panic buying toilet paper, I was making sure that the fridge was stocked with White Claw. So there you go. Ain't no laws. What else do I have on the docket today? Well, I got some questions. Speaking of grocery, if you ever want to send a question to me, share this video. Send questions out on Twitter at TC Popcorn. Question came in: how was my grocery trip the other day? So here's the thing: you go into the grocery store, you have a list of things that you want to get. So you get very specific, and then you go through and you find them, and you get through the line and get out, and then you forget everything. So there was a couple of things I had to go back to Target to get the other day. Let me tell you how difficult it is in Target. Going in with a 6-year-old the other day, and the only rule was don't touch anything. Yeah, immediately things were being touched. So it's a little easier said than done. By the way, wash your hands. Some birthday shout outs. Happy birthday, John Denham, Kate Gannon, Brendan Gulick, Brooks Carey, Scott Merkin, Paul Erickson, Jay Hoover. Happy birthday to you. Belated, because while I'm recording this on the night of your birthday, it won't be online until tomorrow morning, which is the day after. But happy birthday nonetheless. Another question that came in for me today was, how is Indie Ball handling Twitter? Of course, I work for the Schaumburg Boomers. How is Indie Ball handling the coronavirus situation? And at least in the case of the Frontier League, the honest answer is just a holding pattern right now. Um, their season doesn't start until May, so I think the hope is that everything will have settled down by then and that nothing has to be affected. The Atlantic League has already obviously changed their schedule, but they start a lot earlier because they play 140 games. So it'll be interesting to see, what does end up happening in the coming weeks. But I think, as it is everywhere, you just gotta play the quarantine game, sit back and observe, and see what happens. Which leads me to my question for today: quarantine hygiene. You may notice I'm wearing a hat. I'm going to be wearing probably a different hat in every one of these that we record because I've got 8,000 of them. So I might as well wear them. And then my wife can actually feel like, things have been useful. Speaking of which, shout out to Mrs. Popcorn, who's recording this right now, so that you're allowed to see it the normal way instead of having the reverse picture. We'll see if she keeps her job as a cameraman or not, depending on how things go. So I'm using the electric razor, but it's not doing the greatest job. I also feel like during the quarantine, showers are optional. Am I the only one who feels this way? Please let me know. She's trying not to crack up. Another thing is, please tell me I'm not the only one who has thought about, is anybody in this meeting actually wearing pants? Right? Because when you go into a video meeting, you're going to get from here up. And so you got to ask the question, especially when you're working from home. Now, for the record, I have shorts on. Okay, so that is the case, but I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who have to be sitting at home, and I've seen joking memes on the social media realm about interviews and people who are doing Skype interviews that are wearing a shirt and tie from here up and nothing underneath, and that used to be the joke with TV anchors too, right? That they would wear the shirt and tie and then shorts, particularly in the summer, because you wouldn't get to see that part, and they were trying to stay somewhat comfortable underneath. What else is in the notes? Uh, Computer and video games. I was playing MLB The Show today. I don't get it. Why is the computer always so good in video games? It's not fair, is it? The heck. Bears for some sports talk. How about that? Trading draft capital that they didn't have in the first place to end up getting a quarterback. But does that mean we have a new quarterback? Or does it mean that they're just simply bringing in somebody to compete with Trubisky? I guess we'll find out what happens as that year progresses as well. So, like I said, if you have questions for me, send them my way at TC Popcorn on Twitter. You can share this video in any way, shape, and form that you're watching it. Send me some notes. I do appreciate knowing that you guys are tuning in and listening to my ranting and hopefully somewhat entertaining time that I'm having here. By the way, shout out to my alma mater, North Central College, national champs in Divisional III, wearing their shirt today. Did find out today that the college I work at, Benedictine University, we're going to be in the virtual campus until May 31st. So there goes the rest of the spring semester, unfortunately. So, like I said, it's going to be wait and see to see how things kind of transpire. So let's delve into the fun stuff now. The baseball card selection. I've got 2 packs in front of me. These are Topps Opening Day 2020. Here's the pack. Topps Opening Day 2020. I was a big fan of the 2019 opening days. There's only 7 cards in a pack. These are the cheapest cards from Topps, probably because they're not mass produced. I think there's only 200 in the set. One of the things that's cool is they have broadcasters in this year's set. So as we dive in, and my wife was making fun of me yesterday for saying, this is how I open a pack. Let's see what we have in store for this one as we jump into some of these cards, and I'll try to be a little bit briefer. Start out with a good one, though. Yordan Alvarez. How many signs was he stealing with the Houston Astros? Let's see. 2019 Astros lineup loaded with stars. Asterisk. Yordan stood out along with the rest of the team because they were cheating. Josh Reddick says he can count a lot more hard hit balls than balls where he gets jammed or even fooled on. In Round Rock last year, had 23 home runs and hit 343. That's pretty good, huh? How about Joey Votto with the Reds? Good old Joey Votto. Still hanging around somehow. 15 home runs last year at 261 for Cincy, but going to be in a much better lineup this year. That's going to be a pretty stinking good team for the Reds. We've got Chris Paddack for the Padres. 9-7 last year. 3.33 ERA, 0.98 whip. Does anybody still look at that whip number as being a significant statistic? It's interesting. He struck out 153 and 140 and 2/3. Ironically, the back of the card says he cracked a pretty mean whip, one that never exceeded 1.0 until the 22nd outing of his career. The Schwarbomb, Kyle Schwarber. Last year, 38 home runs, had a hell of a second half. If he has any kind of year, the Cubs are going to be pretty good. I think that, the more you hear out of what was spring training, which has obviously since been canceled or postponed, you hear how much the Cubs are changed with David Ross. So we'll see. Here's another Cubby in Craig Kimbrell, a 7-time All-Star, active leader in saves. I was excited when they signed this guy last year. Man, did he not live up to the hype. 6.53 ERA for the Cubs, 30 strikeouts in 20 2/3, 13 saves. Part of that may have been no spring training because he was one of the spring training holdouts last year. Would have been compensation pick if anybody had signed him prior to the deadline. Cubs eventually did end up signing him, of course, and I just wonder if that spring training layoff and that long period of time affected his season. We've got Hanser Alberto from the Baltimore Orioles. And let's see. He's also played for the Rangers. Alberto hit 305 last year at 139 games for the Royals. He was claimed off of waivers by the Yankees, Giants, and Orioles twice. Wow. Brandon Hyde, the manager for the Orioles, says the more guys you can have like that, the better off you are. Here's a cool one. This is a Spring Has Sprung card, and it is George Brett. I got to tell you George Brett's story. One of my favorite players as a young individual myself, but the SOB wouldn't sign a baseball for me when I was like 12 years old and at Royal Spring Training, and he was just hanging out in the dugout as a special instructor. Only person, me, had a baseball in hand. Please sign this. Please sign this. No, go away. George Brett, if you happen to watch this video by chance, I'd really like that autograph. Just saying. Back of his card says, no spring training experience was more vital for George than 1975 when he worked with hitting coach Charlie Liu to continue swing adjustments. And then he led the American League with 195 knocks, ended up winning 3 batting titles, and of course now he's a Hall of Famer, but he didn't sign a baseball for me when I was 12. Come on, George. That pack's done. I got one more pack of Topps Opening Day for you, 7 cards. Quick, as we're trying to get through this a little faster than last night's edition of Quarantine Cards. If you got a better name, please let me know. That can happen on the Twitterverse as well. So here we go. More Topps 2020 Opening Day. Adalberto Mondesi, exciting player. Kansas City Royals last year, 102 games. hit 263, 10 triples, 9 homers, 62 RBIs. Someone once asked me recently, and I wish I would have had more time to respond because I would have been able to give a better answer. I spoke at my alma mater, North Central College, about a month ago, talking to some of the radio students, and they asked me what was the most exciting play that I called. And I had to give the answer, I haven't called a no-hitter yet. Hopefully one comes eventually in my broadcast career. But triple is definitely an exciting one, along with the slash and a triple play, of which I think I've called like 4 or 5. And I think I was franchise first on almost all of them as well, which was kind of neat. So there's Adalberto Mondesi, who has nicknames given to him by family members in the Dominican, including Lagini, which is a bird known for quickness. I ran a lot, he explains. Still does. Mondesi last year had 43 stolen bases, and there aren't many stolen base artists these days. Here's another good young player. It's his rookie card, Aristides Aquino. He's nicknamed the Punisher. Lived up to that narrative when he was called up by the Reds late last year. No player hit 10 home runs quicker than Aquino, who did so in just 16 games. Hit 299 with 28 homers in AAA Louisville last year. Nico Goodrum from the Tigers. A lot of minor league stats on the back of his card. He's finally had his chance in the big leagues the last couple of years. Played 112 games last year for the Tigers, who are very much rebuilding. 12 stolen bases, 12 homers, 45 driven in. Has potential to be a breakout star. Now, card for the best hair belongs to this man. It's a rookie card. Dustin May from the Dodgers. Check that out. I mean, is that the best hair or what? It says with his uncommon height and long curly red hair. See, it's even mentioned on his baseball card. He commands attention even before he throws his first pitch. When he goes to work, his stuff is electric. A mid-90s fastball, power curve, hard cutter. Less than a month after appearing in the All-Star Futures game, he earned his first win on August 13th against Miami. Last year, combined between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, he was 6-5 with 110 strikeouts in 106 2/3 innings. Sonny Gray with the Reds, still hanging around. A's, Yankees, Reds of late. He was 11-8 last year with a 2.87 ERA, going back to his significant form. Boy, if he can pitch, look out. Back of his card says he could be called a renaissance man, returning to the Major League All-Star game after a 3-year struggle to regain his form. Had a 23 scoreless inning streak at one point in the month of August. Here's another fun one. Kevin Biggio. And what can you say about this guy? The Blue Jays, Biggio, Bichette, Guerrero. That team's going to be fun to watch, let me tell you. Just 57 games into his big league career, he already had 40 hits and walks apiece to his name. When you talk about baseball lineage with that Toronto team, and like I said, it's going to be fun to watch in the years to come. Still haven't gotten a broadcaster card, although these are the first 2 opening day packs that I have. There's a ton of them still to come. I'll save some for the season, obviously, and some later at some point. But we end on a Miami Marlins opening day card. I think I heard they made some changes to the ballpark down there this year. Their opener was on March 28th, 2019. The West Plaza Marlins Park was the hub of activity on opening day, as Latin music played while fans engaged in midway-style games and sampled festive food and drinks. Despite 3 solo home runs by the home team, Colorado came away with a 6-3 triumph in Miami. Speaking of music, what's keeping you busy? What are you listening to during this quarantine period? I can't tell you how much Kids Bop I have on right now, but my 6-year-old's got pretty much named that tune down. A song comes on, I'll say, "What's the name of this one, Annie?" She'll be able to tell you right away. Last night, watched Luke Combs live. I mentioned Dropkick Murphys yesterday, their St. Patrick's Day show as well. Today was Eric Church to get to the old goodies for me. So what you listening to? What's keeping you entertained? Tunes. Is there anything that helps your work that you put on while you're at home as well? Let me know. Hope you've had a great one. And we'll have some more coming your way tomorrow. Don't know what we're going to crack into just yet, but we'll see. Thanks for watching.